Greetings, everyone. The South African Minister of Home Affairs, Dr. Leon Stryper, says they are introducing digital system in the Department of Home Affairs meant to improve service delivery, as the department is responsible for issuing various documents to the public. I got this piece from Zimbabwe Permits on Facebook. I also saw it circulating on Twitter Space, on Twitter, which is now X. Is written by someone who didn't want to identify themselves. This post links to the new system, the digital system that is being introduced by the Minister of Home Affairs. It says, I quote, "I'm currently at Martin's Drift border post. We've been stuck in the queue for about 3 hours now due to the system being offline. A new system was implemented yesterday, October 4th, 2024. This system requires a photograph and a fingerprint scan before passport stamping. The days of easily buying days are over, but it would have been beneficial if the system worked. Anyway, we are still waiting 3 hours and counting, close quote." We know that, which is not a secret, which is public, that you have many migrants that work in South Africa without documents or properly registered in South Africa. And our job is to ensure that every migrant worker that work in South Africa is documented. Some resort into visiting the border once their days, the visitors' days, are expired. We know that we are always called names when we advocate for the documentation of migrants in South Africa. But we have a situation where employers employ migrants. It's a reality. Whether it is correct or it is not correct, but it is a reality that is out there. This is why we advocate for the issuing of documents, legal documents, to those that are working in South Africa. We know that every time when we raise this topic, that grant permits or visas to migrant workers that are working in South Africa, we are always lambasted, we get insulted, but the reality of the matter is that we have many people that work in South Africa without permits, some then resorting to always going to the border using a visitor's visa as a permit to work in South Africa. So we hold the view, a strong view for that matter, that those that work in South Africa should be granted permits. The South African government should be in a position to account for everyone who is in the country. And in our view, this can be done by issuing permits. This, of course, does not in any way mean that we are turning a blind eye to the plight faced by many young South Africans who are looking for jobs. Some have given up looking for jobs. And we know that the issue of migrants working in South Africa without proper documents is a topical issue in South Africa, because it also speaks to exploitation. It speaks to migrant workers being paid below the minimum wage, and employers then prefer to employ migrant workers because they are exploiting them. So to end exploitation of these migrant workers, the best in our view is that all those that are working must be documented to end this exploitation. But as I'm saying, that we always come under fire. We know we are going to be insulted and told that we are not being considerate, but we face the reality. The reality says you have got many migrants that work in South Africa undocumented, and our position as we represent the migrant workers is that they should be documented. and we advocate that they themselves, once they are documented, they should join trade union so that you build unity amongst the migrant workers and the workers of South African origin. There is also an article here written by journalist Theophilus Chuma. He writes about the visit of Vice President Kembo Mohati, that is the Zimbabwean Vice President, who was in Lesotho recently. He met Zimbabweans in Lesotho who complained to him about the cost of the permits in Lesotho, making it difficult for Zimbabweans that live in Lesotho to acquire those permits. The article says, I quote, Vice President Kembo Mohati has pledged to urgently engage the Lesotho government to address the prohibitive costs of work permits which are hindering the regularization of Zimbabweans living in the country, close quote. So Vice President Mohati committed himself that they will engage the Lesotho government through the Zimbabwean embassy in Pretoria so that the concerns that are raised by Zimbabweans in Lesotho are addressed. The article continues, I quote, Moses Chisingo, Vice Chairperson of the Zimbabweans Living in Lesotho Association, expressed heartfelt gratitude to Vice President Kembo Mohati for his unwavering commitment to tackling the challenges hindering the growth and well-being of Zimbabweans living in Lesotho. The Vice Chairperson is quoted here, that is Moses Chisingo, says, we appreciate your presence here, Your Excellence, and we hope that through your intervention, our current challenges will be effectively addressed, close quote. And the article concludes by saying, I quote, on behalf of President Mnangagwa, Vice President Mohati reassured the Zimbabwean community abroad that the Second Republic is dedicated to addressing their concerns and bolstering support. He highlighted the vital role the diaspora plays in Zimbabwe's development, emphasizing the Second Republic's commitment to fostering an environment that encourages their participation, close quote. And we say the diaspora community must also be allowed to participate in the electoral process if indeed a vice president and his government, they are sincere and they recognize the contribution that the diaspora community makes in Zimbabwe. They should allow those in Lesotho to vote in Lesotho when elections comes. Us in South Africa must be allowed to vote in South Africa, and also other countries, they should be allowed to vote then. And of course, the Second Republic, as it is said here, though I've got my other views on that, but for the purposes of this discussion, is that it should place as a must attend to the needs of Zimbabweans that are in Zimbabwe, because to us it doesn't really make sense. While we would welcome any assistance to ensure that those that are outside are able to apply for permits and so forth, but we believe that more must be done by the Zimbabwean government in rebuilding the economy so that you reduce the number of young people that flock to South Africa. If you are living in Lesotho, would want to know the conditions in which you are living under, and we did not do a research on how much the permits in Lesotho cost, so you might be in a position to assist us. Please like this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you are on TikTok, please do follow us. Otherwise, enjoy your day. Goodbye.